It is really pretty though. The way the light hits everything, it is a gorgeous looking keyboard. So if you guys remember the last stream with the Eden had 3 mounting styles listed on their marketing. It had O-ring, top mount, and it had tadpole. And we tried all 3 of them, and unfortunately we couldn't get any 3 to work. We're gonna just basically do a redo of everything here, but I also don't want to disregard what happened last time. I sat down with Penguin, and I tried to figure out what the hell's going on. Same with Penguin. He tried to figure out what the hell happened. It looks like the marketing was not translated properly for the O-ring. According to them, it got removed in the later stages of the Eden round 2. It just wasn't translated to the marketing properly. So we'll just neglect the O-ring. That's been taken away from the marketing, as it should be, because you shouldn't sell something based off of a false premise. It still isn't live, the Eden. They want to do some other things which I want to talk about later. The other thing we had a big problem with was the tadpoles didn't fit, as well as the top mount just seemed like it didn't work properly. You know, I sat down and I was like, what the hell's going on? Well, turns out it was a few things. These are the original ones here. And I did measurements, I busted out the calipers and sat down with Penguin. Basically what's happening is these holes in the top that the tadpoles fit in are 3 millimeters. These actually come in, these particular ones that we did, I had 2 that were unused, and the unused ones actually measured at like 3.2. So in theory, you can press them in, like I was able to squish them into the top tadpole holes, and they didn't really fit well. Like it was squished. Eventually, I was forcing them in. They were actually falling apart. Like the tadpoles were scraping the sides and actually shredding parts of the plastic, which is obviously you don't want that. But I thought it was weird because the Eden round 1 had the same size tadpoles, and nothing's changed on the top frame with the exception of adding top mount. So they just added a secondary part where you can screw in a screw. But other than that, nothing's changed. Well, they did a bunch of testing on their own, and they sent over some new tadpoles as well as the correct hardware, which I'm gonna get into a second here for the top mount. They're like on the mark of just fitting. So the new tadpoles don't have any scraping issues. I think it was just a weird batch of tadpoles. It was probably a one-off. So what they're gonna be doing is, because the Eden, I believe, is gonna be in stock, they're actually gonna be testing all the tadpoles they sell with the Eden, just to make sure nothing's out of spec. I would increase the size of the hole a little bit that the tadpole has to sit in on the top frame. But it is nice that they are going to be testing all of these, which is good. At least the prototype unit seems to work with these replacement tadpoles. The top mount is something we couldn't get working on stream because the provided screws didn't work. And my thought process was, I thought that the tadpoles and those provided screws were supposed to share one hole, which is what I thought on stream. But there's actually a secondary smaller hole within the tadpole well that has threading. We just received the wrong screws. We didn't get the right hardware. So it does exist, it does work. So we did receive the right screws. I tested everything before stream, but it seems like a lot of stuff was fixed, which is good. We like to see that. Now we're gonna build the board. We're gonna actually use different switches today as well. And we're gonna go through everything, and I'll kind of refer back to what I'm talking about. We're still using the exact same prototype that we used last time. We just have the better tadpoles now, as well as the updated hardware. Now that we have a rundown of everything that's changed and all that stuff. So this is the Eden here. It has press and feet, really beautiful patina. It starts at $380. I don't think there's any way you can make this more expensive with its current configurator. Comes in a bunch of different colors too. It will also have a WinKey, WinKeyless, and HHKB top piece for the layout. Really, really fun looking keyboard. I liked the original Eden. I still like the way this one here visually looks. I think it's really pretty. The machining on the weights look absolutely gorgeous. The side profile, I think, still holds up even from the round 1. Like, I think this is a really pretty side profile. Love the seam on the top over here. Even the taper inwards on the side over here, it gives this perception almost of really, really thin side bezels, which, I'm gonna be honest, I eat that stuff up. I love the way this particular board looks because of that. I think it looks really, really good. And even the small, subtle cherry lip on the front makes it really pretty as well. So again, a lot of love to the way this looks. I think this looks gorgeous. And it's probably not gonna change anytime soon. Again, the thing looks great. We know you hate the blue. I mean, this wouldn't have been my color choice to go with the silver, and I think that's why I sort of make that criticism where I wish they'd opened up the configurator a little bit more. But I mean, like, it is what it is. What am I supposed to say at this point here? It is really pretty though. The way the light hits everything, it is a gorgeous looking keyboard. A red patina on silver actually would be really cool too. And then let's open it up a little bit and kind of explore the innards. So some things I really like about this board. Again, I'm gonna give this a call out because I think this is a really nice quality of life design. Typically with weights like this, I've always had a lot of problems with getting the weights to sit nicely with the cables and not clipping things and damaging things. They put this piece of acrylic window just so it can flatten all the cables and keep everything nicely in place. I really like what they did there. And even disassembling this thing a lot over the last few days, the installation is actually really easy for this board. In the like this little window over here perfectly aligns with the JST connector on the PCB itself. So even if you need to take this off from the outside, I've been able to do that no problem. You see that little screw on the inside of this little tadpole well right here? See the extra threaded bit? I know it's kind of difficult to see that it's threaded. Originally, I didn't think that was anything. I thought that was just some machining mark of some sort. But after trying the longer screws, now I understand that's for the top mount. But we never received those screws with the initial Eden. So that is where the top mount's actually going to be sitting into, is those little extra holes there. But here is the hot swap PCB and aluminum plate we're going to be using. A rather limited hot swap PCB when it comes to the bottom row, but it's limited for a reason. It has win keyless and HHKB. It still would have been nice to see some options, and maybe they could have worked that in, but I'm also aware that perhaps the opposite facing hot swap sockets may have actually caused some contact with the case. So there is a physical reason why it doesn't have those things. But here is the PCB. You can see it can be built plateless if you decide to go with like a solderable version. But okay, we did cherry clip-ins for this. I'm going to start assembling this with milky yellows today. And here is our plate. I do like what they did with the spacebar area. All right, so I'm going to start off with using the tadpoles today. So even these tadpoles, you can see they're going through the PCB even easier. But I already did test fit these to make sure they work this time. And what was happening last time was that the tadpoles were actually just getting squished and forcing the PCB down. So, all right, now this is what I mean by I was having some nice luck with the daughter board cable like this. I was able to kind of just install it like this over here, which I thought was quite nice. If you're having problems with the tadpoles falling out, flipping it over type thing, so. The blue, while it doesn't match 100% with this, I feel like it still complements what's going on. What is your guys' thoughts? Looking good with silver or no? Blue and silver though do look very good together. Okay, so now comes the test of this, right? We haven't even seen what top mount sounds like, but last time we used the frog tadpole, or the tadpoles, it just didn't work because it was compressing too much and bottoming out. Yeah, here, I'll show you guys the board one more time before we start typing on it. The blue doesn't really match again with the blue on this, but it's still really pretty. The board is gorgeous. It is extremely, extremely pretty looking. Absolutely gorgeous looking board. So let's type a little bit here and see what this sounds like. So we're using milky yellows. I've modded these with 53.5 gram springs, as well as filmed and lubed them. And then we're using GMT keycaps, tadpoles, and an aluminum plate. Oh yeah, okay, I think the problem has been fixed. So let's see. Much better. Much better. Spacebar is a bit more subdued, I'd say, with this. I would have loved the spacebar to be a bit more forward with the tadpoles, but again, with tadpoles, I'm kind of used to this being the sound signature. I haven't really been enjoying tadpoles for a long time though, so we'll see. We'll see what this sounds like in top mount, but this does sound really good overall. Actually, let's see a little bit more here. While we have it here, you're right. Let's see what this sounds like with a long pole. The alphas sound really good. The feeling of this is really nice. I have a feeling I'm gonna probably prefer top mount on this. Actually, let's see with a few different things. Let's try with the cherry switch. Oh yeah, okay, hold on. The cherry switch hits it. That sounds really good with the cherry. Let's see what this sounds like with a long pole. I feel like it still needs a smidge of volume. Let's see. The long pole sounds good on this too. I still preferred the cherry switch though. Yeah, I think this might be actually a bit too bright now. So maybe the cherry switch is kind of where I'm at with this. But for the sake of talking, let's put back the Gateron Milky Yellow, and we're going to swap it to top mount now. All right, this is a much better experience with this. Top mount for the Eden right here. So these are the replacement ones that we just got in. All right, top mount now for the Eden round 2. Same build, all milky yellows. I already like the alphas a smidge more with the top mount, I'm not gonna lie. They have a nicer volume and bass. The milky yellow spacebar on this is hitting a level of deepness. We're gonna try a cherry one too. Let's see with a different spacebar too. Different switch here. The alphas are really nice on this. Too deep with the yellows. Yeah, let's try a cherry. Still a bit on the deeper side, which is interesting. I do think the cherry already sounds better though. I don't love the... Okay, I don't love the modifiers on top mount though. I mean, I will admit though, this is kind of standard of top mount to have some of these more empty sounding modifiers. I think I did personally prefer the tadpoles. If you kind of like that top mount feel and sound profile, then I mean, this board has definitely that very, I'd say very traditional top mount feel here. But I do think that I do like the alpha as a smidge more on top. I did prefer the tadpoles. I thought the tadpoles actually sounded really good with the cherry spacebar. Hold on, before we go too crazy with this, I do want to actually see, what if we force break this? I have a weird feeling that the edges of this board will sound less echoey. So what I like to do is I just use I save all these from stabilizers. If you end up not having them or a board needs it and you just don't have any on hand, but I just save these and I use these things. Let's put these here. Same thing. Force break didn't really do a whole hell of a lot here. Yeah, I don't think this board needs to be force broken at all. Overall though, I think if you're picking up this board, you're not going to be disappointed. The Eden still is really pretty. I think the tadpoles are definitely the way to go with this. 20 millimeters with the foot up to the front over here. Without measuring the foot though, we're looking at 18.8 without the foot. So the foot does add a substantial amount of front height to this. It is a rather thick foot though. As you guys can kind of see, it does protrude out a lot. This is as much as we can really clear up and hopefully add some additional information to this board. I'm glad to see that they responded to my criticisms and our concerns so quickly. I am glad to see that they responded to everything so quickly. I do think it's a very pretty board. I think $380 is still a very fair price point for all the parts you're getting with this, and you know, even all the machining that's going on with the weight over here. I think this is a decent price still. We have someone who in local 3 community 3-print replacement feed added bump-ons for his Type 60. Oh really? Just a big sound difference? Here, let me see if I have some bump-ons for you guys. Here, we'll try some bump-ons really quick. Without the feet, it sounded kind of thuddy as well. Stop that. Take those off. I can't. We're just gonna try it with the bump-ons really quick. Actually, you guys are not wrong on that. Very big difference actually compared. Even the hollowness actually in the backspace feels like it went away. Wow, okay, that's a big difference. I still think the overall tone of the board is still there. It just feels like a little more amplified. I mean, yeah, that is a big sound difference. Well, very interesting. Very interesting discovery. Well, not discovery. Very interesting about this board, I guess. Bye, everybody. Love you.